Everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. So today we're going to work on the willow earrings, and this goes with the willow bracelet that I recently posted a tutorial for on my channel. So for those of you who don't want a bracelet or want a matching pair of earrings, or you just want a pair of earrings, here you go. So today we're going to work on this color because I got a few comments, well, more than a few comments, where people couldn't really see what I was doing because everything was so dark, my thread, the beads, and such. So I'm going to do the component again, only I'm going to do it in this color so that you can, you'll be able to see what I'm doing so clearly. So for those of you who didn't do the bracelet because of that, come on back and do this earring because the contrast is great, so you'll be able to see everything I'm doing. All right, so I'm going to clear these off, get a materials list going, and we'll get started. Okay, let's get a materials list going. So for the original earring that goes with the bracelet, you have everything in the Winter Tail Beading School Academy box. So if you have that box, you have everything to make. You can make both the bracelet and you have enough to make the bracelet and the earrings. So if you're purchasing them separately, I'll try to find links for you to each bead separately. So you'll need some chatons, 8mm chatons. You'll need a 6mm chaton in the claw setting. You need a flat back post. So you're going to glue that post to this earring and this chaton in the setting. You need some Mini GemDuos. Now, in the box, I have two colors. One's a light bronze and one's a dark bronze, and mine got all mixed up. But if you have two different shades, that's fine. 11O seed bead in dark bronze, and I have a gold one here as well. So these, like I said, these are all in the box. 15O seed bead, I've got this Miyuki 3.4mm drop, some 3mm bicones. We've got some 8-pound Fireline black satin, and I've got 3 different size needles. I always have 3 different sizes handy. I'm going to pop out this as a stop bead, and you'll need some glue to glue the back to the crystal in the claw setting. I love this super glue, the Gorilla super glue. I'm telling you, once this goes on, it's like iron. It's never going to come off. All right, so I think that's everything. So everything will be listed in the description box below the video. All links to beads and such. If I forget anything, if I had any coupons, codes, if I have any discounts, anything. So don't forget to click the down arrow in the show more. The box will open, and lots of information will be there. So check that out, please. All right, so let's clear this off and we'll get started. One thing I forgot in my materials list, you want a back for the flat earring back, and I like these rubber ones. I'll see if I can find some. So we'll just go on like so. Okay. All right, so let's get started. The very first thing we're going to do is you're going to take your 6mm chaton in the setting and your little post. You're going to put, I'm not going to do it on camera because I make a mess and I glue my fingers together. I'm just going to take a little dab of the super glue, this Gorilla Glue, and this is, I think, a gel. Put it on the back of our post, and then you just want to just put it right in the center, right there. So you want that, you want to put it on as straight as possible. So let's say I'm glued like that, and then you're just going to put this aside and let it dry. And then you're going to make, we'll do the whole, you'll make most of the earring, and by the time you're, you need to use this component, it'll be dry and ready to go. All right, so get that done, come back, and we'll get started. Let's get started. So thread your needle with about 3 feet of thread, put on a stop bead in the middle. So we'll use both ends. So I've picked up and dropped down to my stop bead a Mini GemDuo, 2 11Os, and I just repeated that 4 times. This is what it looks like. I'm just going to sew these into a circle. I'm going to sew through that first bead after the stop bead, and then I'm just going to keep sewing through all the beads to reinforce this little unit. So I've come all the way around, and I've just reinforced everything, and I'm just going to exit through the bottom hole of the GemDuo, and I'm just going to sew through the top hole. So I'll put more beads on. Okay, next up, I'm exiting the top hole of this Mini GemDuo. I'm going to pick up an 11O, a Mini GemDuo right side up, the middle one, so I'm going to pick up 3 altogether. The middle one's going to be upside down, so the flat side's going to be up, and then the right side up on the third one, and then an 11-0. So later when we do the bezel, this one will pop this up and the right side will be showing. So 11-0, right side up, upside down, right side up, and an 11-0. And you're going to sew through the top hole of the next Mini GemDuo. So you see when I put that on, I have one that's right side up, one that's upside down, one that's right side up, and this will go this way when we do the bezel. All right, so you're just going to repeat that all the way around. Adding my last group of 11-0 and my 3 Mini GemDuos, 2 right side up, the middle one's upside down, and an 11-0. And I'm just going to sew through the top hole of that last one. And I'm just going to keep going a little bit, just to get that situated like that. And then I want you to reinforce this all the way around. This is what we have so far. So I'm going to put that needle aside. I've just reinforced it all the way around and came out one of the bottom holes of a Mini GemDuo. So see what's going to happen here is those 3 in the middle are going to come up, and we're going to use that as part of the bezel. So now I want you to just, like I said, put that needle and thread aside. We'll get back to it. And, take off your stop bead and thread your needle with your tail thread. You'll be exiting probably a Mini GemDuo. It doesn't matter where you're exiting. You'll be exiting one of these beads here. I just want you to sew through a couple of beads. So I'm going through the 2 11-0s and the Mini Gem. And then I want to get to the top of one of these 4 Mini GemDuos. So it doesn't really matter which one you're coming out of, as long as you're coming out of the top hole of one of these 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we've picked up 7 of my 15-0s, and I know you can see that much better now. Okay, so I'm exiting the top hole of this Mini GemDuo. I've picked up 7 15-0s. I'm just going to sew through the top hole of the next one. So again, we're working with these 4 interior Mini GemDuos. So you're going to go sew through the top hole of the next one. Pick up 7 15-0s again. Exiting the top hole of this one, I'm just going to sew through the top hole of the next one. Just make sure you don't get caught on anything. So this is what that looks like. So you're just going to do that 2 more times, and then we'll continue. Coming down to the end, I have my last 7 15-0s. I'm going to sew through the top hole of this Mini GemDuo. So now I have all 4 groups of 15-0s on. And then I want you to sew through the first 4 15-0s. Like that. Okay, this is what we have so far. So I've come all the way around. I've come up bead number 4 of that first group of 7. I'm going to pick up 4 15-0s. I'm just going to hop over to my next group of 7 and just sew through bead number 4 of that group of 7. Like that. I'm going to pick up 4 15-0s. And I'm going to do that again. I'm just going to find bead number 4 of the next group of 7. Here we go. Like that. And you're just going to do that 2 more times. And you want to pop your stone in either now or after the next group. It's not going to stay. We'll have to reinforce, but just get that part done. Adding my last 4 beads on it, and I'm just going to sew through that original bead number 4 there, so of the next group of 7. Like that. Oops. My stone popped out. I'll get that back in there. There we go. So then I have that done. And now you want to reinforce this all the way around. And the way I did that is I just went through the next 4 beads like that, and then I skipped that center bead right there and went through the next 4. Like that. Whoops. Get my stone back in there. This stone is very flat on the back, so this is a stone from my stash. So just to get it to stay in, I really need to pull it tight. So just do that all the way around. So you're just going to, you've gone through 4 beads, skip the corner one, go through the next 4. Careful you don't get caught. Like that. Okay, now we're getting there. Okay, so do that all the way around till it's nice and reinforced, and then we'll continue. The stone. I was unsure at that for a moment, but it worked fine. So I just went on a little bit extra because this stone is a little bit flatter. So it needed to be a little bit tighter. So I'm exiting a group of 4 that I went through. I'm not going through this kind of corner bead right here, just coming through the 4. I'm going to pick up an 11-0, so I'm using the gold color now. I'm going to sew through that Mini GemDuo that, that's kind of hanging out there. And then I'm going to pick up another 11-0, and I'm going to sew through the next 4, skipping those corners, so just the 4 right there. And that's going to place, see what that does, it kind of pulls the GemDuo up so the right side is showing. And you're just going to do that all the way around. I'm about to put my last 11-0 on, so it's just going to go here. So I'm just going to pick up my 11-0, sew through the last 4, those 4 15-0s. This is what it looks like so far. Okay, so I'm exiting these 4 15-0s. I'm just going to sew through this 11-0 right here, and then through this Mini GemDuo right there. Okay, next up, I'm exiting here, this Mini GemDuo. I just want to get in there and get down these 3 15-0s right there. Like that. So now I'm set up to put on an 11-0, a Miyuki drop, and an 11-0. And I'm exiting these 3. I'm going to sew up these 3, and you just have to get your needle in there. It shouldn't be too difficult to kind of like dig your way in a little bit. So like that. So that puts that Miyuki drop with the 2 11-0s right there. And then I'm just going to sew through this Mini GemDuo, and then I'm just going to do the same thing all the way around. Coming down the 3 after that Mini GemDuo, picking up an 11-0, a Miyuki drop, and an 11-0, like so. I'm just going to sew up these 3 15-0s and just, sort of get your needle in there. There we go. Like that. Have those on, and then I'm just going to sew through the next Mini GemDuo, and then I'm just going to repeat that 2 more times. Putting on my last 11-0 Miyuki drop 11-0, coming through those last 15-0s here. So I'm going to advance my needle through the Mini GemDuo, and then I want you to come through this 11-0. So an 11-0 on the side of one of those, up. So facing up Mini GemDuos, just like that. Okay, next up, we're going to add some bicones. So 3mm bicone. You're exiting an 11-0 right here on the side of the GemDuo. You're just going to sew up through the next 11-0, through the Mini GemDuo, and then through this 11-0. So easy. Just do this all the way around. So bicone. Just make sure your thread is going in the right direction all the time. So here we go. This one. Get this one. So just do that 2 more times. And then you can sew this thread in and clip it off, and then we'll start working on the outside. Okay, so the front is done. And you've sewn that thread in. Now we're going to our other thread. So it will be exiting, I'll turn the back so you can see. You'll be exiting one of the Mini GemDuos, the bottom hole most likely, and you want to make sure you sew through the top hole. So if you're not there already, just move your thread until you get there. So this is where you'll be exiting one of the Mini GemDuos here in between this area where you have these 3. I'm going to pick up 3 11-0s. And I'm going to sew through the next Mini GemDuo. Now I'm going to work my way around, and if you have a light color here and you want to put some beads here, you can put 3 15-0s, 11-0s, whatever you like, whatever will fit around here nicely. I'm just going to leave it. You'll see the thread, but I'm just going to leave it. So here, so then I'm going to sew through this one, and this one, so those 3. So coming back to where I started from, so I'm exiting the bottom hole of this mini, I'm going to sew through the top hole, like that, and then I'm going to sew through the first 11-0, and then I'm going to skip the middle 11-0 and sew through the third one. And when I either pull or just help it pop up, you get a little picot like that, and then I'm going to sew back through all these beads. So you will, like I said, you will have thread on the sides. So, you know, this, I'll just show you how that looks. So you might want to put something there. All right, so that's what you're going to do. You'll be exiting the bottom hole of this Mini GemDuo. Now I want to move over to the next group. So we'll be putting 3 11-0s here, 3 here, and 3 here. So you just have to move around. So I find the easiest way to get there is just to turn it on the back. So you're exiting right here. I'm just going to sew through the 11-0, the mini, like that, the 11-0, and the next Mini GemDuo. I can turn it over now to the front, and then I'm going to sew through this one right here, this Mini GemDuo, and then the bottom hole of the next one. Going through here, the top hole, and again, you know, you can add something there. And then I'm going to pick up 3 11-0s. And I'm going to sew through the top hole. I'm going to do the same thing I did on for this one. You're going around again. Like that. So those 3 up through here, the top hole. I'm going to sew through just the first 11-0. And then down, skipping the middle, sewing through the next 11-0, making that pop into a picot, and you're going around again. So through these 3, and then you're going to move your thread like we did before to this group. You'll put those on, the 11-0s there, and then you'll move your thread again, and you put those on right there. So go do that and come back and we'll continue. Let's get this started. For embellishment. So first thing I'm going to do is thread about 1.5 feet of thread, 2 feet of thread on a needle, and put on a stop bead, leave enough of a tail to sew in. So when I hold it this way, I want you to just with your needle and thread, sew through this hole and then this one. Like that. Okay, so next up, I'm going to pick up an 11-0. So I'm exiting this hole. I'm going to sew through that exact same hole and the next hole. So when I pull that, it's going to place an 11-0 right there. And I'm going to move my piece around. I'm going to pick up an 11-0, exiting right there. I'm going to sew through that same hole and then the next one. Now you see I have 2 beads on, and don't worry, we'll straighten them out in a little bit. I'm going to do that again. Pick up an 11-0, sew through the same hole you're exiting, plus, and right on through the next one. So you'll be exiting where you have your tail thread coming out, and you'll have 3 11-0s on. I have my 3 11-0s on, and I've kind of taken my needle and sort of straightened them so that they're sitting, see, like that, because I want to put beads between. And you can do that now or you can do that later, but you just want to make sure your thread isn't twisted and they're all kind of facing in that direction. So I have one more space there. Here's where I'm going to pick up my component, and I'm going to just move that out of the way for a second so it doesn't blur. So I'm going to pick this up. I'm going to put my needle through that middle 11-0, you know, on one of the ends there. So let me just pull that through like that. So that's the 11-0 we'll be putting on in the last space here. So I don't want it to blur, so let me just move that out of the way. So you know I have my component attached there. I'm just going to sew through the same hole and the next one, which will be the very first one I put on there. when I pull, you see how that is going to attach it. So just get to that point and come back and we'll continue. So I'll just show you the thread path real quick. So here, you see how I've come through the 11-0 around and then through again, so it's like a little loop there. So when I pull, it's just going to sit like that. And we're exiting the next hole, so I just want you to sew through that bead that's right there, because that's going to set us up to put some beads in between those 11-0s. Next up, I'm going to pick up 3 11-0s. So I'm using the bronze here, and I'm going to sew through the next gold bead. So I'll consider these beads the like connecting beads here, the 4. Then I'm going to do that again. 3 11-0s, and through the next connecting bead. So just like that. Okay, you're going to do that 2 more times. So the next connecting bead is going to be that 3rd bead right there. You know, that you connected. So 3 here, and then 3 here. I'm down to my last 3. So I have to put these on. Came through here. I'm going to sew through this one. So now I have my connecting beads on like that. And then I'm going to reinforce these. I'm going to sew all the way around again and come out this connecting bead. Hey, this is what it looks like so far. So I have all my, the 11-0s in between the connecting beads. And now I'm going to pick up, and let me just check my piece for a second. Okay. I'm going to pick up an 11-0, a 3mm bicone, and an 11-0. And I'm exiting this connecting bead. I'm going to sew through the next connecting bead. Just like that. Just make sure the beads stay in front of those 11-0s. So when you put that on, that's what it looks like. And do that again. 11-0, 3mm bicone, 11-0. Whoops, I lost my bicone. Like that. And I'm going to sew through the next connecting bead, and just making sure that the beads you're putting on are sitting in front. See how it popped in back? You want them in front of the beads you put on previously. So like that. So you're just going to do that 2 more times and then come back and we'll continue. On my last 11-0 bicone 11-0. So you want to make sure when you put this on that you go through the connection bead, not that first 11-0. We will go through that, but not now. So make sure you're over here through this connection bead, which is sort of behind it. Like that. This is what it looks like. I'm exiting. You see the connection bead, which is, sort of behind it. This is where I'm exiting. I have all my bicones and 11-0s on. Now I'm going to sew through the 11-0 bicone, that first 11-0 bicone, 11-0. Just holding it. So I'll be exiting in between 2 of the 11-0s we put on. All I'm going to do is pick up an 11-0. So I'm using contrasting color here. And I'm going to sew through the next. I'm just going to put a bead here. So sew through the next 11-0 bicone, 11-0. Like that. And you're just going to do that all the way around, putting in a bead in between those 2 11-0s. Coming down to my last 11-0. So I'm exiting here. I'm picking up my bronze one. I'm going to sew through the next 11-0 bicone. 11-0. Like that. So now you're on. So what you want to do at this point is you want to just reinforce so everything is nice and tight. You can even try, I haven't done it yet, but you can try to go through the 11-0s and then skip the bicone, go through the 11-0s, skip the bicone, so you're pulling the thread from here to here. You can try that if you like and see if that, tightens it up really nicely, but I think I'm just going to go around again. Okay, so I ended up going around twice. I went through all the beads, and that pulled all the beads together. So this is what it looks like on the front. Here's the back. Okay. So just get to this point, and you just want to, sew around either once or twice, make sure it's nice and snug, and then you're going to sew that thread and then come back and we'll finish up. Back and we're done, and here are the willow earrings, and I love how they came out. They're nice and chunky, but they're not heavy. I have trouble wearing heavy earrings on my earlobes, so if you use that rubber back like that big backing, it doesn't, it holds it on your ear nicely, and it's not painful like a metal backing. So I'll see if I can find them. I'll link them in the description box. I think this color came out really good, even though I used it just for video purposes. This would make wouldn't that make a really pretty summer earring with like a white sundress, gauzy sundress, or on the beach with a straw hat? I think they're so pretty. And of course the bracelet. So I hope you enjoyed being here with me. I hope you make these. I hope you post them on Facebook. I love it when you do that and you make all your different colors if you prefer a different color. So thanks again for being here. I'll see you next time. Bye.